this interview, we sit down with One Bermuda Alliance candidate for Constituency 6 Hamilton West, Joseph Marable, a crawl-based entrepreneur hoping to effect positive change in the political sphere. He says that his early upbringing was colored by strong familial ties and a focus on giving back.
When I first came to Crawl to take over the gas station, the former dealer that was there, I asked him, I said, so what's Crawl like? What's it like in Crawl? And his exact words were this: Joseph, Crawl is a different kettle of fish. He said, they're either gonna love you or they're gonna run you out of Crawl. So 20 years later, I'm still in Crawl, and I take a lot of pride in that because we've always run the store as a community-based store. We do a lot of work with Francis Patton. In 2009 or 10, I believe it was, the then principal, Garita Coddington, was trying to find community partners. They had started a program called The Leader in Me. So they invited me to come to the school, and they had a presentation. And I was honestly blown away with the presentation of these children and the enthusiasm and the synergy that these children had. It excited me to want to be a part of it because for me growing up, it's always been about my elders, have always played an integral part in my life. And children. You know, I don't have any biological children, but I've always mentored. And what I really appreciated about what they were doing with the school is that it was giving these children the education and giving them, you know, opportunities. Like, for instance, I had two young men from the school that came down and we showed them how a business is run, you know. And when I think about even myself as a child, I was extremely close to an aunt, my Aunt Mary, we called her May May. And this woman, I would not be an entrepreneur today had it not been for some of the lessons learned from her. And so I look at that, and that's always been a strong part of my DNA in as far as community. And I've always believed that if it's a business that I'm running in the community and the community supports the business, we support the community, whether it be bake sales for churches or car washes or something, you know, of that nature. But that's always been a passion for me, and I love being in Crawl.
Mr. Marable says that his political aspirations are driven by his love for community and country.
I will say this: I am not getting into politics for self-serve. I'm getting into politics to serve people, which is something that, again, as an entrepreneur and as a businessman in Crawl for the last 20 years, I've had the ability to get connected with the community. And again, I keep going back to my childhood. It was always about the village, you know, in the neighborhood. And that's what Crawl is a lot like to me. It's a very tight-knit community. But I also, again, you know, believe that the seniors, I'll say this, I oftentimes, you know, talk to seniors in marketplace or coming in the store, and you know, they'll express to me some of the challenges, and I see, you know, they've worked all their lives, they've had a hard time, you know, now especially with the cost of things. So I feel that being in a position as a politician, because I've had some people say to me, "You're crazy. Why do you want to get involved in politics?" But I say this: if you want change, you need to be a part of the change.
When asked about Bermuda's most pressing needs, Mr. Marable says that there needs to be more fiscal responsibility and that everyone has a role to play when it comes to getting Bermuda back on track.
You know, I think that there's so much going on in regard, I mean, the roads, you know, people will tell me, oh, you know, the roads are really bad. The cost of groceries, and especially when I think of my seniors or the seniors, that the cost of just medication, you know, being able to hopefully be in a position to, you know, drop some of these costs and get the island back on track. I mean, I think that, and I'm not knocking the present government in the sense, I believe we all need to work together, as far as running the country. And I just look forward to, I say this, if everybody does a little, a lot gets done. I think it comes down to gaining people's trust and respect is earned. Again, I think that we're living in some very strange times right now in regards to just worldwide. Change is the number one reason for stress, but change is inevitable. We either embrace change or we don't. And again, I had a former employee that every morning she made 6 o'clock, but she was always there before 6 o'clock before we opened. And she would call her granddaughter every day and say to her granddaughter, be a leader, not a follower. And there's so many people that, and I'm not knocking anyone in any stretch of the means, but someone has to take charge of the situation and bring some normalcy. And I think that it's a community thing. It's an island thing. I don't know. I can't emphasize enough about growing up and just even simple things. Life has gotten so, now these children have cell phones. They have all kind of things that we didn't have growing up. But this is the world we live in. I don't know that I can't say that I have all the answers, and I don't. It's just that I believe that if we all work together, to make some change, it can happen.
Gray Miners for News Extra.